Good afternoon, guys. Thank you for joining us again this afternoon. Hope you're well refueled after your lunch. We're going to start again this afternoon, and we're going to kick off with a panel, and we're going to be discussing how to evaluate traffic, an affiliate and operator perspective. So let me introduce our moderator for today, Mr. Allan Petrilli.
Hello. So I'm going to quickly introduce people on my left. I'm Allan Petrilli, VP of Sales at Intelitics. On the panel, we have Yoni, we have Remco, we have two Allans at the end there. Allan Stone, CEO of the company I work at, and Allan Turner. I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves, and then I'll moderate the panel, and we'll get into some topics that I think will introduce some cool talking points for all of you.
Hello. How is everyone? I am Yoni. I've been in online gaming for about 16 years, working for numerous brands, and last 3 years working mainly on ad tech companies. I'll speak louder. Yeah. Working mainly with on the ad tech side, utilizing the data that we have to drive traffic to operators globally.
Good afternoon, Remco de Boer from the Netherlands, in the gaming industry for close to 20 years already. Spent a lot of time in the land-based casino industry. Normally I was at ICE, not LAC. But since 3-4 years in the online industry, and here to represent Leo Vegas as head of affiliates for Leo Vegas.
My name is Allan Stone. I'm the CEO of Intelitics. I've been in the gaming industry since 2005, focused primarily on the ad tech and marketing side since 2011. And we operate casinoaffiliateprograms.com, and we just launched marketing analytics and BI platform for iGaming.
Hi everyone, I'm Allan Turner. I run an agency called Mustard Digital, which is a full-service iGaming agency, servicing operators and affiliates in the industry. Been doing that about a year. Prior to that, I was CMO at Bigo Group, where I ran Bigo.com, and I started in this game about 12 years ago as an affiliate manager originally.
So our panel is going to go a little bit into how both affiliates and operators analyze traffic, how each of the guys up here actually leverage tech to be able to do so, and a little bit in terms of building relationships between both and the importance of transparency in order to grow each of their businesses. So, first thing to kick it off, and I'd like each of you to answer it, would be, what do you think is the one key to building relationships, either on the advertiser or affiliate side, that each of you has learned over the last 10 plus years that you've been in the industry? Allan Turner?
I think for me, and what I found in my experience in the industry, is that it's all about honesty, really. I think that it's a job of an affiliate manager, an operator, to really work with the affiliates in understanding their traffic, understanding the mathematics of it, and working out that sweet spot where both of you make money and you're not trying to play each other off, and it works into a proper partnership. I would say for me, that's the one key element that is going to make both of you a success.
Yeah, if I may, I can completely relate to that. I think what always goes in the relation or the success to any good relationship is communication, of course, but that's just an open door. But I can completely relate to honesty, I think you called it. One of the cornerstones that we hold very highly is trust and accountability within Leo Vegas. That's literally one of the cornerstones that we operate on. And that is actually what I would like to emphasize on this topic. Indeed, trust and accountability. The affiliate team with Leo Vegas is 7 account managers. We're dealing with around 1,000 affiliates, active affiliates per month. So you can imagine, the huge amount of communication going on, data that's shared or not shared, which only emphasizes the importance of both sides taking stands on trust and accountability.
Just to, I'd probably say, touch on that. I'm coming from both sides. I've also been an affiliate manager, also been a head of marketing, and now I'm the one actually driving the traffic. And apart from honesty and transparency, like Allan said, I think there also needs to be a level of understanding of the traffic, of what's actually going on, what's behind the traffic, and ability to utilize the data that's available to us, which I'm not really sure that a lot of brands are doing correctly, or at least as effectively as they should be. So I would agree, honesty, transparency, but also having a little bit of knowledge on the industry, not just saying, let's buy traffic, it's no good, let's stop. Or it's good, let's carry on. Let's try and understand why it's good, why it's not good, because, listen, there's many ways to skin a cat, but if the people you're speaking to don't really grasp what it is they're doing, then it's extremely difficult to have a conversation with them.
Yeah, just to sort of echo everything that these guys said, honesty, transparency, I think coming to a common ground when you're building the relationship and understanding what are the key values, what are the key drivers on both sides of the business, and everyone understanding, full cards on the table. Here's what the benefit is for us. Here's what the benefit is for you. And as long as those are mutually agreeable, mutually beneficial, then I think the partnerships can be very strong.
Can I ask a question to Yoni, maybe?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Not?
No, I'm joking.
Sorry. No, but I think it's interesting that we're emphasizing the willingness to share. And what I hear Yoni say is actually the lack of knowledge left and right as well, as you're experiencing, right? What do you think that needs to happen on that to improve?
Okay, so luckily I work with you guys a lot.
Yes.
And I have to say, working with Sven in Leo Vegas, he does understand. You can have a conversation with him. But I believe that the training that the account managers or the operators give their guys just isn't sufficient, because today's market has evolved to what it was. Listen, I've been doing this for 16 years, and a lot of the guys I'm speaking to speak the same language that I spoke 16 years ago. And the deals that you have today, with the regulation and with all the difficulties that there are in the market, it's very difficult to have a conversation about actual data or about where the traffic's coming from, disclosing data that can help also the publisher, affiliate, advertiser, everyone on board. And there are brands that do get it. There are brands that have proper media departments, proper media guys. But even then, they're very cagey and say, let's just run a 2K test or a 5K test. But that's it. Sometimes it's not enough. The data today is at our fingertips. There are so many tools out there to be used. But I feel like there's not enough time for the operators to give their team the training they need to use those tools. And I think it has a detrimental effect. It just makes us become lazy, which is maybe a reflection of society today, I don't know, but there's a lot of work to be done always.
I think, in my experience, talking to that, the experience that the operators allow their representatives to have, I think one of the big, and Yoni, you touched on this, but one of the big misconceptions is that an SEO affiliate is the same as a PPC affiliate, is the same as a media affiliate. Those businesses are all very different, and they're categorically different. So having someone who's dedicated, a lot of operators have country-specific managers, but there's not necessarily a channel or traffic-specific manager. So you could be talking to someone who maybe does have years of experience, but with a specific type of partner. And so if you come to the table and you as a partner work in a different way than what they're used to, there might be some disconnect there. And like Yoni said, a lot of the operators aren't educated enough or up to standard enough with what's happening in the media landscape, and so they're falling behind. So even if you have someone who's maybe willing to have that conversation, they just don't have the experience to be able to keep up.
So obviously one of the points that I think a lot of you are touching on is, if we look at 8 years ago, majority of traffic driven at this conference or any of the shows was SEO affiliates. They had their sites, they were driving traffic. Didn't really matter if traffic and tracking wasn't real time or if it was delayed by 24, 48 hours, because they're placing that up on their site and they're getting the revenue for whatever that is. Now, if you look at the industry in Europe, SEO is starting to become, I don't want to say less important, but a smaller piece of the pie, with media becoming quite larger. And then if we look at the US market, that SEO piece is even smaller. So maybe for kind of the operators on the panel, where are you guys focusing more of your time right now? Is it with your traditional affiliates? Are you kind of going away from that and looking for new partners on the media side of things? Where are you focusing the majority of your time?
Yeah. SEO has always shown good value to us. And I think there's a couple of big advantages to SEO traffic. It's easier to manage. It's more transparent. And of course, there's the value, that there's a high intent for the gaming industry on SEO traffic. So that's the obvious advantages. It's expensive, of course, and especially when you're managing a multi-brand operation, you're going to be your own competitor on SEO traffic, which does, force you to be creative on other, social media or other traffic sources. I would say at the moment we're definitely spending less of our time on SEO. And that's because the rest of the traffic just needs a lot more attention on compliance as well. It's way more difficult to manage, but that's where we are spending the most of our time anyways. Yeah.
I think for me, my clients, that question is very dependent on what markets they're operating in, and I think that that will give a large bearing on how you manage things. And I think as well it's important when managing the data for these different channels. I mean, Allan made an excellent suggestion that you have different managers for marketing channels as opposed to countries or whatever, because it's actually the understanding of how that traffic is run that's important. I think a lot of the time as well, in my experience with operators, their BI systems, the data that they're using behind the scene is not good enough. So many campaigns get started where you have weeks of data, sometimes months of data and traffic being run without anyone knowing really in the business what the lifetime value of that player is likely to be, in which case you've had months and months and months of wasted money on one side or the other or both, and no one's really optimized that campaign. So of course, when you're running traffic in different ways, your lifetime value model for 1, 3, 6, 12 months actually looks quite different, So you need to model each of those out individually to really make the most of it. And hopefully you get to a situation where after 5, 10 players from an individual traffic source, an individual keyword, wherever it may be, that the affiliate manager knows where to go to find that level of detail so that he can then go back to the partner and say, I expect your traffic in 3 months, 6 months to be worth X amount of money, therefore I can pay you X amount of money so that my margin is maintained as a business, And that is the foundation of what should be a really good partnership.
So one of the things that we spoke about, I think, before we got up here on stage was that people are becoming a lot more selective in who they work with, whether it's operators becoming selective of the affiliates that they work with or vice versa. And I think kind of all you can answer this question, but I'll start with you, Yoni. What comes into play when you decide who you're going to be working with? What's the top 2 or 3 most important things?
So from the operator side, I understand why they err on the side of caution. With regulation today, in a lot of geos, it's not worth taking the hit or the fine. And that's another layer on top of our business that makes it even more difficult. We're approached by brands every day, tens of brands. We're in a market now where there are less affiliates because they've all been kind of eaten up, acquired, merged, or whatever. And there are more brands. There are so many white label brands out there and everyone's looking for traffic. And it goes back to my original point where the people that are approaching us don't really know what they're asking for. Give us traffic. Okay, no problem. So what I look for personally, I try and see who are the people behind the brand. I prefer to have an educated conversation. If I'm going to waste 5 hours on a Skype conversation and do integrations, I prefer to have a proper conversation with someone who understands, is not going to waste my time after 3 players and say, we have to stop, it's too expensive. And that is the attention in the detail that I believe is lacking at the moment in industry. So I look first of all for the people behind the brand. If it's someone I know, and I know a lot of people in industry through being here for a long time, then I look at the platform, see what the quality is, and I prefer to be honest to a brand who'll come up to me with a white label and say, we're going to be big in Mexico. Okay, I go onto their website and they're showing the Man City Spurs game from 3 weeks ago in English. I said, so you're not going to be big in Mexico. No, we are. We have payment processing. I said, your site looks like shit. Trust me, it won't work. And they drive and you're mad all day. Give us traffic, give us traffic. So I look for the people, first of all, then the platform. But ideally, I'm looking to have an educated conversation with someone on the other side who understands what it is that we're offering and is going to be honest with me about their brand and what they can do.
Can I ask you a quick follow-up on that one where you get approached from multiple brands every single day? Do you think that enough of them realize that outside of SEO traffic, the risks that you take when buying media to their brands is actually a lot bigger than what a lot of them probably know?
No. So we have PPC traffic, we have media traffic, we have programmatic traffic, we have lookalike marketing, we have... It's endless, the amount of data that we use to send traffic, the amount of effort that goes into it. Again, I don't want to be rude, a lot of good guys here, but they are clueless when it comes to a lot of the things that we're talking about, especially the new white labels who don't hire or have media teams. They have an affiliate manager who says, right, I want to buy traffic. No problem, PPC traffic is £500. That's too expensive. Okay, so what do you want? Everyone, they're trying to get a deal. We'll work on revenue share. The world has evolved. It's, we can't work on, if you're going to approach someone like us who has to buy media, buy impressions, buy clicks, we can't work on revenue share. They drive you mad all day long, and even if you get a campaign out of them, they stop after 5 players. They say, well, it's not working. It's not working because you don't understand what you're doing. That's the main issue. And it's very frustrating on our side.
Yeah, so just to echo that, I mean, we deal with a lot of the same types of traffic, and I think one of the things that operators have a hard time understanding is that the price that we give, or the price that we tell people, is not a number we've picked out of thin air. Typically, it's market driven, right? And also understanding how to keep up with the market dynamics. Like Q4 is a very busy quarter for e-commerce. It drives the cost of traffic up. So our traffic cost goes up to send to the operator. So a lot of times we'll come to the operator and say, hey, we need to restructure the deal in Q4 in order for the campaigns to remain profitable so we can continue to send you traffic. And they scratch their heads and they're like, well, we don't understand. It's like, well, these are market dynamics at play here. This is not us dictating the price, it's us responding to the market. So we have to be able to do that. So echoing what you said, it's the people behind it, it's the platform behind it, but it's also the ability to have that conversation. Are they willing to have the conversation, and then do they have the technical understanding at a very bare minimum? Like there's some very basic tech and data understandings that operators need to have in order to be able to even accept the traffic, Yep.
Just a quick question for Remco here. You guys share a lot of data with all your affiliates. I think it's the reason why everyone up here who's worked with you has enjoyed working with you guys. What was the reason behind you guys being fully transparent with all your data, and do you think it's helped you guys get to where you're at today?
I think keyword in that is sustainability. The company that we are, a public listed company active in a lot of regulated markets, our focus is on the longer term. And of course, we never can resist a good deal. We're always interested, but in the end, that's where the money is. That's where the results are. And that is something that we started to realize, not from scratch and not from start, but years ago, definitely. We tend to think to see ourselves as a data-driven company, and we're every day. I've actually right beside me, the next desk next to me is not one of my account managers. It's actually BI. It's actually I have a data analytic expert sitting next to me, so I can just really quickly relate on how we're doing and what the risks are in specific potential deals. So yes, sharing in that is caring, is indeed realizing in longer term involvement and commitment. And maybe if I may, because one of the key factors, the risk has been mentioned. Yes, from an operator perspective, we have to be careful at managing risks, at the risk profile, definitely, which is why we can't just respond and relate to any potential offer that's out there. But I do see a positive effect from this managing risks that we have to do, and that is, it works both ways as well. We work with affiliates now who are actively managing risks on their side because they do understand that the survivability or the sustainability is indeed when you start managing those risks, and we have a focus on at least the medium term. That's, I think, where the survival will take place in the next year.
Anything from you, Allan? Or, I think you were quite similar in your days at Bigo, so just interested in your thoughts there.
Yeah, exactly. We built that BI system that I mentioned in order to do that exactly. So we could break down the traffic sources by keyword, by individual creative, by any kind of dynamic variable, any of those things, and relay that to our affiliate partners. And for each of those traffic sources and traffic types, we can also define as a business, as an operator, what kind of percentage margin we want from those channels. And that gives us a very precise number that we can then openly speak to with our partners. And if that partner doesn't want to work on that basis, then that's not some guy we want to work with. Particularly, it has to be a two-way thing, and it has to be, you have to work like that so that both the affiliate and the operator get real benefit from the partnership. Because if one side is benefiting more than the other, or one side's not making money, then it will inevitably cease, and there's just no future in that, you know.
And we're not talking about sharing the crown jewels here, obviously, right? Everyone has his reasons or his recipes for success, and that is much to be respected. But the thing that comes right after that is, of course, you know, your targets, your challenges, and I think especially sharing challenges and maybe showing, you know, your vulnerability. That is something where I guess you can really stand out and create a strategic partnership, as I like calling those. You know, when you start working successfully on the less challenging circumstances, that, you know, it's nice, results are good, but when you start to book results on the high challenging circumstances, that is where, you know, synergy happens. And that is why I would plead for, indeed, share your challenges as well. Be open. I think that really is where you can help each other out.
So other elements like product elements. So, for example, I'm working with a client at the moment in Canada, and they've had issues with their registration to FTD element of their funnel, you know. And so rather than trying to hide that or mask it from affiliates or whatever, be open and honest and just say, like, this week we've had a result, we've added some some payment processors, and as a result we're expecting the registration to FTD to take a real jump. But these are the kinds of snippets of information that really enable your affiliate partner to optimize the campaigns in order so that everyone to make some money and really push that forward, you know.
Can I just, just to add to that point, I think you can even do more than that. So instead of just telling us you've added a payment processing, tell us what that payment processing is. Can you build us landing pages? Can we target traffic who are directly using MasterCard or Visa or NetTed or whatever it may be? All that information is great, but it's endless. There is so much you can do. You can, you know, we can tell you if it's a certain state in America or a certain region in the UK that there's a higher percentage of Skrill, or it's endless. We have so many parameters you can add to your tracking, and so much data that you have, if it's mobile, if it's second screen. But it's an element of, you know, there's a lot of work to do from everyone, and you need to be able to share that data, and you need to have someone on the other side who understands what the data is that they should be telling you, rather than just saying the conversion's not working. We have a problem.
Exactly, but I mean, I think my point is that really, as a media buyer, you're looking at how much does it cost me to get a click and send a click to someone else, and how much do I earn per click, and what's my margin, right? So naturally, something that you're adding to the funnel like that you expect to have a major impact has a big impact on the EPC, in which case telling you the kind of impact and how that can then affect the commission part of the deal is obviously very, very important.
And I think this kind of circles back to the start of the panel, talking about how potentially there's more need for training and, you know, bigging up affiliate managers to understand other types of traffic. On SEO sites, if conversion rate goes down for 2 days, no one really notices and it's not the end of the world. But if you're spending $10K an hour on traffic and conversion rates go down for 2 days, you could have just literally thrown a lot of money in the garbage. So I think those type of conversations are super important to have. And I think there's probably a lot of people in the room saying data transparency is great, but it's actually really difficult to pull data from 4 or 5 different platforms and mirror it together and be able to share it with my affiliates. And I don't know if you guys, anyone on the panel can touch base on this, but how many platforms are you working in on a daily basis? And is it that easy to share data, or do you have to set yourself up to be able to do it properly?
So the first point you made is a great one. If you're spending tens of thousands of dollars an hour on traffic, and you go to an operator and say, we sent you 5 clicks, but we didn't get a player, most of the time that operator, not you guys, that operator would turn around and say, but it's only 5 clicks. The fact that they don't understand that you know your traffic, I know what I'm selling someone. If I'm telling you that 4 clicks, you should have an FD, then there's a problem. And they say carry on, but it's evolving. And in terms of the platforms, we are working with dozens. We have our own media buying platform, a company that we acquired, that's made our life much easier because it's one platform for our media buying. But in terms of gathering the data from the affiliate programs, it's a daily process that we need to do every day. Some aren't updated in real time, some are updated 24 hours. It's a painful process that someone in the office has to every day and update the stats.
So just quickly, and I'll let the other guys get to it, because I don't want to just pick on the affiliate manager side of the industry and not sharing data. On the affiliate side, what data do you share, and how important is it for you to be communicating with the brands that you work with so that they're some sort of transparency in the traffic that you're driving, that you're buying for them?
So on our side, we operate on full transparency. Even if we're doing app distribution, we're happy to share our sources. I don't believe that anyone here is reinventing the wheel, if I'm being honest. And I think secrecy in our industry is a hindrance. So I've got no problem telling someone where we're buying, mainly because we have confidence in our ability to buy better using the data that we have. But in general, we work full transparency. You guys know exactly where we're sending you traffic from, if it's native, if it's in-app, if it's media, if it's mailers. You know, I don't want to do a mailer campaign to someone in the UK and not tell them, and then suddenly they say, why are you sending mailers? So for us, we work full transparency, and I would only advise full transparency for every affiliate.
I don't know if you guys on the operator side want to touch base on the platforms and what you guys kind of deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah, the obvious one here is NetRefer, obviously for us. We have a couple of backends that we use a lot. I mentioned the data-driven is earlier. We just switched from ClickView to Tableau, which does provide us with a lot of dashboards that we can use and share, but it's still something that we're growing into. And one of the other things that actually it's not really a platform, but it's the main KPI that we are sort of reporting on with our all the affiliates that we work with within Leo Vegas, the LTV CAC. The LTV CAC ratio, that is, we live and breathe by that, the lifetime value versus the customer acquisition costs. So we have a number on that, on each and every affiliate and on each and every marketing source, actually. We can see pretty much live how the LTV CAC is developing. And that is something that we started to share with the affiliates as well nowadays. So that is helping us forward a lot.
Yeah, I think from me, I use, because I have multiple partners and multiple customers who use various systems. I use Income Access on a daily basis. I use Map. I use NetRefer. I use Power BI. I use Tableau. I use all of those things. So for me, it's a bit more complicated. I'm not just using one affiliate program and one BI tool or whatever. But yeah, I think for me the affiliate software is one area of the industry that really does need to develop. I mean, it's great that Leo Vegas have introduced Tableau and given more real-time data to their partners, but ultimately, if you had a NetRefer or an Income Access that does all that real-time and provides better reporting, better filter functionality and all those other things in their own dashboard, that actually wouldn't be necessary, And I think that that's sort of the next step in the affiliate world, is we really need technology to develop to catch up with the media planning, the media buying type stuff that is providing a great deal of the traffic now. So
I probably should have asked this at the start, but how many operators do we have in the room or in the area? Wow. Affiliates? We have a whole lot of other people here, which is super interesting. I think we're going to cut it pretty short here. I'd like each of one of you to just go through kind of what your biggest piece of advice is, kind of in today's age, building relationships, and then I'd like to open it up to some questions. We have probably another 10 or so minutes, and hopefully there's some questions in the room for these guys.
Well, what I can share with you, actually, when you asked me to join this panel and when I took a look at the topics, I was like, yeah, I'm comfortable sharing my view on that. And as we just discussed a little bit before we started the panel, we all agree that this is the direction we need to head into. So yeah, I was quite comfortable with that. And now I'm sitting here next to Yoni and being quite open and transparent and honest on... I feel not worse, but more motivated. Actually, this was. I hear you talking about indeed the necessity and the importance of the other side understanding what you're talking about. Speaking the same language, another open door. But I feel comfortable enough claiming that is what we need to improve on still. So that's actually advice to myself. Is that okay as well, Allan?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Remco, to Yoni's point earlier about affiliate managers maybe not being as educated as they could be to run this traffic efficiently, as an operator, how do you see that? Do you feel like you give enough training to your affiliate managers? Do you have
Good question.
processes?
In all honesty, I think the latest account manager that we took on probably disagrees because there's just so much work going on, and that's on me. We hired her, we gave her a quick course, and then it was like, computer, phone, go. Yeah. So in all honesty, no. And then again, what we did last year, actually, one of the biggest networks, the affiliate networks that we worked with for a long time, I actually invited them in our office for a full day. And we did a masterclass on how it is to be an affiliate, actually, and sharing on the KPIs that an affiliate monitors. And we did some breakouts and some homework. And normally when you come up with those kinds of initiatives, the team's like, here we go again. But this was so helpful. So that's relating to what Yoni says. We have to do better on that. We have to.
Tell you that point you said, some of the most productive days that we've had is if the operators come to our office or we go to their office and they see what it's like in, one day in our office and how we're buying the traffic and how crazy it is. No one does it enough. It was easy when we were situated in Israel. Now we're in Cyprus, so we're a bit further away. Maybe in Malta it might be easier because there are a lot of affiliates there. But like I said, I feel like the affiliate side has evolved because there's less, like I said, SEO is less relevant, natural traffic is less relevant. So the affiliates have had to evolve. They've had to learn new ways, if it's Black Hat, if it's media, if it's in-app, whatever it may be, they have. But the operators, I don't think, have evolved with them because they're still getting their market share, rightly or wrongly or whatever. But and I think that has to be the next step. So my advice to operators, there's only two here because they don't come to these. They don't come and listen to them because they're busy with affiliates getting traffic. But my advice for them is to try and involve the affiliates more, or go see them, go meet them, go see how they buy traffic. Train your guys at above basic level. Like you said, the woman you just hired, because I also used to hire people. I didn't look on the CV and say, have they got experience in media? If experience in media, put them in media department. But account managers normally don't have a lot of training. Like you said, it's here it is, this is the brand, this is the deals you can do. Have your computer start speaking on Skype.
Learning on the job, yes, but yeah.
So it's difficult. It works on both sides, but I believe that the operator side, they need to learn more, become more educated, learn the new ways, and don't be so focused on today and start thinking much more about tomorrow because you're already in the past.
Just to echo that, I think one of the topics that we touched on is the operators have to become more sophisticated from a data and analytics perspective, and also just understanding what traffic is available out there. I mean, fortunately, Remco, Leo Vegas is ahead of the game when it comes to that, the data sophistication, but they're one of thousands of operators that exist out there. And there's a reason that Leo Vegas is winning in the markets that they're winning in. I would definitely say a lot of that is due to the data-driven nature of the organization. And that's the fundamental shift that's happened in the industry in the last, call it 6 years, 7 years, is that the consumer behavior has shifted and the operators have not kept up. And so now the affiliates are ahead, consumers are ahead, and the operators need to catch up, and that all boils down to data and technology.
I feel that they have product-wise, they really have, mobile and tablet and cash out and all the different things they've done for the user. But in terms of the actual acquisition, and we deal a lot with e-commerce websites, and coming up to Christmas time, you see how on it they are in terms of the traffic, in terms of what they're looking for. I find it hard to believe that e-commerce websites understand this world better than some of the operators out there.
Just to add in, I think I echo a lot of what you guys said. I think there's a reason why we're seeing a handful of brands kind of rise as like the cream of the crop, and on the affiliate side, because both those are keeping each other accountable and making sure that they're, respectful of each other, sharing information and trying to grow together. And I think for kind of all the affiliates in the room, because there's a lot more affiliates than operators, if you're continuing to hold operators accountable, but you're accountable to them, that's how you're going to kind of be able to grow.
Can I just one quick example? Earlier today, I had a quick chat with one of our larger affiliates, and actually he just told me a PPC affiliate having a lot of challenges, and he told me, the traffic that I have at the moment is quite crappy. And internally, he said, I voted and I agreed to not send this traffic to you guys. And that is where indeed the transparency and the focus on the longer term starts to turn into results, actually.
And all of a sudden, you're going to focus a lot more on that affiliate than you have in the past, right?
Well, but that's how it works, right? Yeah.
Do we have any questions? I mean, we're a lot of people. There has to be someone who has a question. Should I pick on people? Not one question? These guys are not easily accessible, so. Okay, well, thank you guys. If you want to, oh, there is? Thank you for saving us.
That's all right. Well, I know two of you very well. I wanted to ask Remco about how you calculate LTVs. When we talk to operators, we get very weak answers on what they look for in our traffic.
Yeah.
It's always too early or it's too late.
Yeah.
The deal's off.
Yeah, so the question was how we do calculate lifetime value. And you already added that when you ask that question, normally you get quite some vague answers. That is partially, I think, I recognize that since it is based on an algorithm. And an algorithm, of course, is a combination of a lot of information and input and predictions that all get combined into one. The advantage that we have, I guess, is the long experience in the different markets, because the first thing that we do, of course, is we look at the markets, we look at the type of traffic, we look at the type of the vertical, we look at player behavior, and that all mixed into one gives us a fairly decent prediction on what the lifetime value might be. We are able to do, after 5 days, we have our first prediction model. It's automated, it's ready. And at the same time, we have a couple of lines in our dashboard. We have the average predicted lifetime value, and we have the average realized lifetime value. As some of you know, we allow 24 months for players to reach the lifetime value. So obviously the goal is there to have these lines get very close together within the 24 months. So there's this constant learning curve that we have as well. Not really an answer to your question, but yeah, there I go again. But yeah, it can't be other than a complete bundle of all the information that we have. But one of the more important things is the huge amount of data that we have. So it's not only predicting, it is, predicting on a lot of experience and actually hard information that we have. And I have to say, so far, I think with the prediction model that we have, I think we are at a success rate of about 90% when it comes to predicting the LTV. So I really mean what I said earlier, the LTV CAC. That is when I go into the boardroom with Leo Vegas, and I explain how we're doing. It's about LTV CAC. It only, it only indicates how important everyone within Leo Vegas thinks that the LTV is and how dearly we take it. I hope to maybe give you a little bit more of an answer. If not, reach out to me. We'll discuss a little bit more. I'm interested in your insights as well.
I think one of the cool things about how you guys evaluate traffic based on what you just said is you'll talk to a lot of brands in the industry and they'll say, in Canada, our average LTV is X amount. But reality, all traffic from different channels has different value, and every single deal needs to be structured towards that individual type of traffic. So your average lifetime value in Canada could be 500, but there might be a source where it's 200. But if you're paying 100 for that traffic, it's still very profitable. Yeah. And I don't think we have enough of those conversations in the industry.
If you want to get really sophisticated, we track it down to the device type and OS, right? So we look at things. It's not just what market the player's in. It's what device are they playing on? Do they register on mobile? Do they play on desktop? how many sessions do they have in the first 24, 72 hours. You can get very sophisticated with the LTV calculation, and more operators need to start moving that direction, because then they can make more efficient decisions as to what traffic they're going to acquire at what rate.
I mean, I don't want to derail this too much, but I was talking to other affiliates earlier, and I mean, Yoni, you could touch to this. A lot of times you hit a wave on a campaign with traffic, and all of a sudden you're scaling and an operator would get nervous and say, you got to pull back. And there's that opportunity loss afterwards where you're not getting that traffic back, and then you're asked for it kind of 2 months later. I don't know if you want to touch base on that, but I think that's quite relevant in what
the
these guys are
biggest
saying.
pain in the arse that we have is operators saying to you, send us traffic, we can handle traffic. I'm not speaking on, we have the ability to send hundreds of players a day, but the brands here cannot take 100 players a day. It's not binary or forex brands that are desperate for these type of numbers. Casino brands on one hand tell you gimme, gimme, gimme. The second you give them, they're like, oh, hold on a second, that's too many. And it's a very difficult platform to manage if you're dealing with a third party, whether it be publishers or media agency. Because the worst thing you can do as a media company is stop and start, stop and start, stop and start. These campaigns take a lot of work to upload, a lot of time and efforts go behind the scenes to make sure that we provide the best results. And we had it the other day in Spain with a brand. We're sending them 10 players a day, trying to keep it steady, and we try and spread our eggs as evenly as possible. So we don't send someone too much. And one brand said, give us more. So we went 10, 20, 25. And then by mistake, because in our world, this is what happens, a publisher will see an opportunity to say, right, let's turn on the tap. And we're talking here about numbers that these operators, it's crazy numbers. Suddenly 50, 60, 70 in a day. And I'm here, as it's happening, I'm in London, and the operator's like, well, Yoni, what's going on? Stop. I said, first of all, you said you wanted more. You didn't say how many. And now I'm from here, I've got to try and remotely try and tell this publisher, stop sending them traffic. He's like, where am I going to send my traffic? So I now need to find him another deal, and the process starts again. And that goes back to my original point that the brand we were working with did not fully understand what the traffic was and how we're sending it. And it's an issue that I would love to be resolved in the near future, because it's a fucking pain in the ass.
Any other questions? Well, thank you guys very much. I think this was quite interesting. We're all around, so if any of you have questions, come find us.